Hello, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our webinar on doing more with less, how to respond when pressure to cut digital marketing spend. We're excited to present today on this topic, as I'm sure this is something that's on minds of many marketing managers, marketing executives. And we'll share a lot of different ideas, thoughts, and research on the topic. Before we get started, just a couple of items. The webinar is going to take place over the next maybe 35 to 40 minutes. During that time, we'll be answering questions, and we'll certainly be answering questions after the webinar. So please use the question panel in GoToMeeting and GoToWebinar to ask questions, and we will address them as they come in. The webinar recording will also be posted once the webinar is done, and we'll share it, we'll send it out before the end of the week. Again, after we send everything out, if you have any outstanding questions, or if you would like to present this to your team, to your colleagues, please let us know how we might be able to support you. And with that, let's get started. Presenters today, I'm Michael Loban. I'm CMO of InfoTrust, which is a digital analytics consultancy and technology company headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I'm joined today by Lori Kaiser, partner manager from Google. Lori, would you like to spend a moment and tell everyone about Google Marketing Platform and partners like InfoTrust?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. So I'm sure you've heard of our Google Marketing Platform. I'm not sure if you've heard about our Google Marketing Platform partners. So a few years back, Google changed its model to where we really are investing in focusing on our partner ecosystem. And reason being is Google makes really good products. We really focus on the product and the tech, and that is our core competency. And our partners are really good at services. And so they are focused on their core competency, which is the consulting and services aspect. So combined, you have a really powerful team of both the Google product and platform and partners that can service and implement those tools and platforms. So we've carefully vetted a group of partners, and these partners, such as InfoTrust, are really there from a day-to-day perspective, helping marketers maneuver through the Google Marketing Platform and what is right for them. Next slide, please. So we have a few types of partners. We have our sales partners, which InfoTrust is, and this is a certified, these are certified resellers of the GMP stack, meaning that they can both service and they can resell licenses. We also have service partners such as our GSIs and our consultancies, like a Deloitte or Accenture, who are really building on top of our platforms at a large scale. And then we have certified companies who are not resellers of licenses, but they can provide services. So with that, we have a full spectrum of various types of partners to support various needs, and that's at a global scale. Currently in the US, we have about 20 plus partners. We're still growing our ecosystem. Basically, as I mentioned, we want to have a variety of partners across the ecosystem to support all needs. So we're carefully vetting and bringing on new partners as we see that we need additional partners in the market to support various needs. Our partners do cover a wide array of subject matter and capabilities. So anything from audits to training, data architecture, implementation and onboarding, strategy whiteboarding sessions, integrations, pushing data outside of the platforms, getting it into BigQuery, working with Google Cloud, dashboarding, and many more services that I haven't mentioned. So it really is a vast spectrum of service support and offerings that they can provide. Whereas, Google, that's not our focus. We're not a consulting company. So we really rely on our partners to be able to offer these services. So combined, we have this great model of working really closely with our partners. And as I mentioned, our partners are carefully vetted, and they're going through certification on an annual basis. So we make sure that they are upskilled and they know the ins and outs of our platforms, just as we do internally at Google. Here are a few of our partners. As you might see here, it really runs the gamut from, as I mentioned, our alliance partners to more boutique partners such as InfoTrust, and then some larger agency-like partners that really provide capabilities across the full stack. So that's our partner ecosystem, and that's where InfoTrust comes into play. If you have any questions additionally on the partner ecosystem, please feel free to ask, but I'll pass the mic back over to Michael.
Thank you so much, Lori. And a couple of words about InfoTrust. I appreciate providing an overview of the partner ecosystem. InfoTrust is very much a proud partner of Google in the Google Marketing Platform. We are Google Marketing Platform sales partner as well as a Google Cloud partner. And everything that InfoTrust does as a analytics consulting and technology company has to do with helping global brands optimize data collection, data management, and understanding of their customer data, and then determining what they can do better with the analytics to generate better marketing yield. One of the things that InfoTrust does not do is run advertising campaigns. We prefer to stay unbiased and focus on the area of digital analytics while allow organizations to either handle media buying internally, as this is now a very common trend where organizations take this capability in-house, or for them to continue to rely on media agencies that have been doing this for the past decades and have amazing capabilities in those areas. But we stay true to digital analytics. With that, as Lori mentioned, we've been fully vetted and passed everything with flying colors. As I mentioned already, we do not sell media, so we draw a line where we focus on data collection. And one thing to mention about data collection, one of the areas that we help organizations with is data governance. So how do we ensure that information that we collect about our customers and about our audiences is done so in a way that is compliant with all the privacy and regulations that are taking place right now in the world with GDPR, CCPA, and many others that are coming out. We also have our own proprietary technologies that we build, whether standalone products or solutions that many of our clients and partners are able to leverage. And we work with truly global partners, whether it's organizations that sell and market their products across hundreds of countries, or organizations that work across different sectors and industries. We work with many Fortune 500 organizations, and InfoTrust is also present across a number of continents, so we can provide global support to our clients and partners. So with that, let's dive into the actual webinar. And the reason we decided to put this program together is because many organizations keep reaching out to us with questions about what is the state of the industry, what is happening right now in the world of digital analytics, considering that many organizations might be struggling. And there is very much a common belief that if things are not going well, we need to start cutting budgets, and marketing budgets are often the first ones to go. And we certainly understand that when the organization might be hurting, or when your customers are not using the product, not flying, not traveling, or whatever that might be, then there will be a question, well, how do we cut our digital spend? And so with that, we decided to put together a methodology of how can we not just cut our advertising budgets by saying, 20% of whatever we were spending is now gone. But how do we think about different areas where we invest? And with that in mind, what are the areas that can be reprioritized? What are the areas that can possibly be cut? And what are the areas that can simply be done at a later stage? One thing to note is whatever is going on right now in the world is certainly horrible and has a lot of implications. But with that being said, this is very much temporary, right? Yes, we do not know whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days until the end of the year, and what the world is going to look like once we come out of this. But we still know that this is temporary. And the question should be is, if we as an organization are trying to make some drastic changes, cut our budgets, reinvest our budgets, how do we do it in such a way that when things get back to more or less normal, we are still in a position to be successful? What we are very much concerned about as an organization is when many of people that we see on our social media, or when you open Ad Age and you see how organizations are cutting their budgets, how drastic those moves might be, is that they are putting themselves in a position where it will be very difficult for that business to bounce back once things recover. Because one of the things that we will highlight in this webinar, it's not just about thinking about your social media or pay-per-click or digital budgets, it's really thinking about your customer habits, right? Your customers are in a habit or were in a habit of buying your products and services. And if those habits start to shift, then the times will be quite drastic, or the times will be for quite drastic measures. And so with that in mind, we'll talk about the marketing budget framework, how to approach this, and we will make this very, very actionable. We will outline plenty of ideas and areas where you can start. And then we'll talk about next steps and other resources that might be available for you, might be available for your teams on how to get through this now, and certainly how to come out of this over the next time period. So in terms of state of the business, we've all seen the headlines. We can all look at CNN, Ad Age, Adweek. There are plenty of unfortunate and news about different organizations cutting budgets, firing people, organizations having layoffs. So there is no shortage of that. And the question that remains is, although many organizations might be challenging, for them it might be challenging to decide what we can do, the question remains is, what still can allow us to be creative? What can allow us to be in front of our customers while minimizing our budget so money can be focused on other business critical activities? And here are some of the numbers that we've seen from the World Federation of Advertisers. 80% of large advertisers are deferring ads, 20% of large advertisers had decreased marketing budgets greatly, 30% had decreased them somewhat, and just a third said they have had no change in their digital spend. One of the things that I would ask to do, if you are so inclined, is post either on Google Chat or you can send a private message to us and letting us know where your organization is right now. Because depending on where your organization is right now, there might be different things that you should be doing, right? If your budget is not being cut, it means that you are one of the businesses that is actually performing well. And so the question might be, how do we continue to gain market share? Versus if your advertising budget is being cut, the question should be asked, how do we continue to focus on our most loyal customers so we can continue to build relationship with them? So your strategy definitely will change depending on where you are. So let us know, and that will help us recommend the better next strategy. Recently, I was on Barron's website and I saw this headline: J.C. Penney, Macy's, Gap, number of other organizations leaving workers without pay. But what was interesting about this article is that right on top, there was an ad by Bonobos, a very popular online, predominantly retailer of men's and women's products, and they were advertising 20% off. So clearly, many organizations are using this opportunity to generate as much market share as possible and potentially go after customers that have not shopped with them in the past. Because if company, let's say like Macy's or JCPenney, is struggling and is severely cutting their budget, Bonobos or other retailers might look at it as the opportunity to go after those customers. The other interesting thing that somebody brought to my attention was this article. When P&G cut 200 million in digital ad spend, it increased its reach by 10%. Now, what's interesting about this piece of content is that it did not take place in the year that we are currently in 2020. This was not a result of coronavirus, but the organization 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago, decided that there is a better way for them to leverage their ad spend. And here, as we can see, Unilever followed with the same budget reevaluation. So that was really the theme of our webinar. That you can still advertise and accomplish quite a bit with the budget that you have available to you. This is not the time to just give in or give up. Even if the budgets are cut, if you can do it in a smart way, and we're about to share some of those tactics, you can still win market share, or at least focus on preserving the current market share with your best customers. One of the things that came to mind was the example of Peloton versus Lifetime Fitness gym chain. So I, for a long period of time, personally belonged to Lifetime Fitness and have been a big fan of their brand and their gyms. But certainly, I was not able to go to Lifetime Fitness now for about 2 months, starting in March. And so what I decided to do is invest in Peloton. And as Lori and I were joking around, we are slowly becoming addicted to Peloton. We actually have a little bit of a challenge going on, 50 consecutive rides. I think I'm on my ride 25 now. And looking at where we are with Peloton, I'm beginning to reconsider my investment into Lifetime Fitness. And I'm beginning to wonder, Lifetime Fitness tends to be on the more expensive side of things as far as gym membership goes. What if I live Lifetime Fitness and either drop completely because now I have weights at home, I have Peloton at home, or maybe I go to a cheap alternative because I do not need as much equipment myself because now I have a lot of the equipment at my house, right? And so with that in mind, we really need to consider as advertisers their customer habits, right? And what do we need to do to, if customers are currently not able to use our products, that we still may maintain top of mind awareness. And on the other hand, if we are able to gain market share like Peloton, then how do we continue to maintain it and grow it? So what do we need to do if over the next 30 to 60 days, we are able to increase the number of our subscribers? How do we keep them engaged so we are able to actually turn it into a habit? Otherwise, what might happen is you gain a group of customers, and then within 2 or 3 months, they do not develop this habit. And as a result, they stop paying the monthly subscription. Obviously, something that you want to avoid. So what we've done and what we suggest you consider is looking at your business in this type of format, right? So we have different types of organizations. Again, some might be hurting right now. Some might be in a neutral state, meaning that the business is the business has not been changed, the business has not been impacted, but they are not planning to make any drastic cuts. And then you have organizations maybe similar to Peloton, food delivery, whatever that might be, that are really excelling right now. So they're using this time to really generate a lot of market share. And depending on where you are, you'll have different ability to think about your key segments. One is customer acquisition, right? So if you are, again, excelling right now, what are the things that you can do to gain even more market share? Because now is really the prime time to step on the gas. On the other hand, if you are maybe hurting, going in neutral state, how can you at least protect your most loyal customers? To give you an example, I've been a very loyal fan of Delta Airlines and have been flying on Delta last year probably every single week. And with that in mind, I've never really questioned my loyalty. But now as I was putting this together, and now I'm looking, probably my first flight will be in June, July, not sooner, I begin to wonder, well, what would it look like if I begin to switch to United or another airline? Because I suspect they're about to roll out some interesting programs to get new customers, right? So if you're Delta, that might be a good, for example, opportunity to think about your most loyal customers and how do we make sure that we keep that segment. So when things, again, get back to normal, we do not lose everyone. Looking at the marketing budget framework, I came across this interesting joke, if you will, on Facebook. Who led the digital transformation of your company? And unlike typically what we think a CEO or CDO or CTO made the change, the joke was that, well, coronavirus, right, is what's driving transformation within the organization. And this inspired me to look at changes to digital budgets that we need to do through the lens of digital transformation framework. Not too long ago, probably last year, we published this 6 P's of digital transformation piece, which is a framework that we continue to use, and we align it very much with digital analytics maturity framework that Google has put together. Right? And we look at 6 P's as a mechanism to get from one stage of digital analytics maturity, from nascent to advanced, right? And how do we get to multi-moment? And the 6 P's model includes one is purpose. So what are we trying to achieve and why? Then we look at people, platforms, and processes as 3 levers of our execution. And then pace and payoff. So the result of digital transformation needs to be that not just we are able to generate more revenue or more profitability, but we can also run faster as an organization. So we decided to use the same model when thinking about budget allocation and budget distribution. A lot of news outlets are already talking about possible recession. And when we talk about possible recession, we really need to think about what is the pace and payoff, right? So from pace and payoff, looking at the list of projects that is currently available to you, the question should be, what can be done right now within next 3-6 months? And what are the initiatives that have a much longer timeline to realize? When I meet with a lot of executive teams and I get a chance to see different priorities and projects that they are working on, almost every organization shares with me a new initiative about their customer loyalty program, or a new initiative about CRM, or a new initiative about data warehousing. Certainly there is no shortage of those. But now is the perfect time to look at those and ask yourself a question: are those initiatives going to generate value that I need right now over the next 2 or 3 months? If retune my CRM system is going to take another year, and I'm looking only to generate value in 2021, the question should be asked, is that something that we can put on hold for the next 3 months and use those funds on perhaps marketing, perhaps running campaigns, and actually generating either new sales or keeping existing customers. So now might be a perfect time to place these various efforts that will not generate enough payoff in a short period of time on hold, so you can focus on the activities that will drive more value rather immediately. And here we are using this model where we look at different projects through 4 quadrants. And on left side, you see impact, and at the bottom of the diagram, you see effort. And so the question might be, what projects will generate us quick wins, which is what many organizations need right now? What projects are thankless tasks? Maybe they are important for the foundation, if you will, of the organization, but again, not going to generate a lot of impact to our business and to our bottom line down the road. And what projects are rather fill-ins? So look at the projects that your team is currently working on, or other people within the organization are currently working on, and see where will these fall. Some AI or machine learning projects might be quick wins because they will allow you to do things faster, more efficiently. We've done a number of very interesting initiatives using Google Cloud machine learning projects because they allowed us to do things automatically and generate much faster payoff versus doing things manually. But some projects, for example, if you're working on a bigger data warehouse initiative, or maybe moving all of your data from one cloud platform to another, perhaps that's a project that can be put on hold for the time being. Now, once you think about the pace and payoff, the second question is, well, whatever we need to do as a business usually requires 3 components. It requires people. Who are the people that will be executing everything? It requires platforms or tools that we'll be using. And it requires processes. So what are the processes that we as an organization are going to be following when doing the execution? One of the things that we do as an organization when we meet with our partners, existing clients, is looking at their digital stack and helping them evaluate what are the components of the digital stack that are essential or perhaps not essential. And this is a perfect time to examine this in a granular detail. So here we use our proprietary technology, Tag Inspector, which is also a standalone solution that anyone can leverage. And here we are looking at all the different tags, pixels that are deployed on a website. So here we see, obviously, Google Tag Manager is on the website. We see a number of other tags that are present on the website. And the question is twofold. One is, what are the platforms that we have on the website where we are paying for the license and maybe we are not actually using them, right? So can we cut those license costs? And the second question is, if we are using certain platforms, can we change from one platform to another and save some money? Case in point, always an interesting discussion about tag management systems, where there are a number of great solutions that are available on the market. There are paid solutions, Insight, Signal, Telium, and there is a Google Tag Manager solution which is available for free. And the question to ask yourself is, yes, there are possibly some advantages and certainly some benefits when you use Insight and Signal or another similar paid platform, but can you use those license costs when migrating to a free solution like Google Tag Manager? So if you are paying an annual fee of, let's say, 50,000 or 60,000 or over 100,000, depending on your website, for a paid solution, can you use that money to complete migration to Google Tag Manager and then not have an annual investment? And a lot of times when we complete a tag management system migration projects with our partners, the migration project will pay for itself within the first year in saved license costs. So whatever you were to spend on the license cost when you pay to a paid solution can be allocated to complete the migration. And then on annual basis, you actually end up saving that money and you can use those funds for other marketing efforts. So a couple of things that you can do right now. One is review license agreements and timelines, right? What are the things that we can do right now? What are the licenses that we can possibly cut? What is the cost of migration from a expensive or paid solution to a free one? And can the same results be accomplished with integrations versus standalone products? Standalone products, when they're manually integrated together, generally tend to cost more as far as the total cost of ownership, because you have to take into account management, versus what would it look like if you migrate your business to a Google stack, right? And here we can see an example of digital marketing integration, if you will, done on a Google stack. Where on the left side we have a cross-channel digital media platforms where you actually target your customers. In the middle we have our digital analytics, which is Google Analytics, data warehouse, which can be done with Google Cloud Platform, Google BigQuery. We have our tag management system, Google Tag Management. And then on the right side, we have your user data sets, which is your CRM system, right? And you can integrate these three pieces together, often in a solution based on Google Marketing Platform that will generate a lot of savings from license standpoint and also from ongoing management standpoint. The last P of execution, if you will, is people, right? So when it comes to digital transformation, many companies often suffer from indigestion, meaning that we take on too much and we do not have enough people to work on those priorities. So before we make these decisions, it's always important to ask yourself a question: who will be the one working on this? A lot of organizations over the past couple of years made the headlines of going the in-housing route and bringing capabilities in-house. And certainly that's something for the business to look into right now, considering that budgets are cut. Is there an opportunity to take, for example, media buying in-house and generate some cost savings? If you are planning to do this right now, it's important to be mindful and focused on capabilities that can generate gains in shorter term. Building all in-house capabilities immediately likely is not going to happen this year. Even when organizations are planning to build their own data warehouse capabilities, as important as those are, chances are they will not be able to be completed this year. So you are going to invest into something that can only generate value next year or the year after next. when there is a management pressure to generate savings right now. But one thing that can be done right now, for example, is taking ownership of licenses with media buying platforms and ensuring that you can have access to all of the data yourself, and then use this data to optimize various marketing efforts. We've also seen a lot of organizations going on hiring freeze, and this might be an opportunity to work with a partner where you might not be able to bring full-time people right now, but can you work with a partner, or can you work with a contractor to generate additional help that your business will need over the next couple of months? And InfoTrust is also introducing a number of flexible options to help organizations fill the gap that is created as a result of these freezes. So we are trying to be as accommodating as we can to help all of our partners properly address this. So even though, again, you might not be able to hire full-time people, but there's work that needs to be done, work that can generate revenue for your business right now. So what are the options that are still available to you to pursue? One of the things that we've also done, just wanted to share, knowing that many of our organizations are going through layoffs, we've put together a list of organizations that we know that we a lot of times partner with, and those that are hiring right now in the digital space. So we've put together our own, if you will, mini version of analytics career portal with jobs in digital analytics. And if you are working maybe with an organization that is going through layoffs or furloughs right now, feel free to share this with them. We certainly cannot guarantee employment, but at the very least, there are additional resources, additional jobs that can help people in need right now. This is also a perfect time to go through upskilling. Google has plenty of resources around digital analytics that you can use, and we published a number of different webinars, online courses around digital analytics. In fact, Lori and my colleague Brett Prenger have another webinar that's coming next week, Fireside Chat with Google, how Google partners can help business. So use this opportunity to determine what skills might be most valuable over the next 3, 6, 9 months, and use this opportunity to invest time into upskilling yourself. And the beautiful thing right now is many of our courses that used to be paid right now are either free or you can get at a discount. And the same we highly advise for current employees within your organization, those that are still very much employed. This can be a great opportunity to direct their attention on what skills might be needed over the next 3, 6, 9 months, right? Especially if the organization is considering doing more things in-house. This is a great time to get upskilled and learn new things. A couple of other processes that you can focus on. We've talked about some in the past. Some of the areas that we see as very popular right now that many organizations are reaching out to us with questions about. Attribution analysis. This seems to be a very much natural area to look into right now to identify media investment that are not generating value. Looking at the activities that take a lot of time because they are done manually. Those certainly can be automated, and the time that has been spent to work on manual tasks can be used for other purposes that will generate more value for your business. Looking at things like A/B testing and experimentation. Last week, I went to websites of about 10 different retailers, and almost every one of them had some kind of discount offer, whether it's 10% off, whether it's free shipping, whether it's 20% off. But as I was looking at those efforts, I was surprised to see that very few of those promotions were being tested using an A/B testing tool like Google Optimize. If you are planning to offer significant discounts for your customers, at least test which ones are going to actually generate more sales and more revenue. And another one is to think about your customer lifetime value, right? So again, what are the customer segments that you can either go after right now that have the best chance of staying with you over the next number of years? And those customers that have been most loyal with your business over the past couple of years, how do you ensure that their habits do not change and they do not go to your competitors over this time period? And this slide actually ties nicely with the question that we have. Out of activities you've shared, is there a common theme you're seeing your partners are focusing on? I would say the common theme for businesses is first dependent on where they are, right? If the organization is very much hurting and is not able to sell right now, is not able to deliver services right now, they tend to focus more on what can be done with our existing customer segments to make sure that we maintain communication with them and that we are able to get them back once they can start using our products and services. So those companies that are hurting right now, they very much continue to focus on loyalty and retention, and even their marketing campaigns are more focused on things like email marketing or social media, brand advocacy, because they want to retain those relationships. Those organizations that are in a neutral or excelling position, they tend to focus quite a bit on attribution, right? Because they are already investing money in media and they are planning to continue. So how do we get the most out of a dollar? And also, if we are spending money on a customer acquisition, how can we go after the customer segments that have not shopped with us before? Which enhance triggers discussions about building customer audiences. And using tools like Google Analytics, you can build great and very granular audiences, which then you can share with tools like Google AdWords. So I hope that answers your question. And we will share a number of other resources that are available to people outside of the job board that we already shared. And as I've alluded to this, rethinking customer lifetime value, right? And here, again, going back to the initial example of Peloton versus Lifetime Fitness, it's the question of customer habits. Right? So what about customers that have not purchased from us over the past few months? Are we going to lose them or are we going to keep them? Is there a chance this audience left and moved their money elsewhere? Do we know who they are and why they left us? Where did they go? And how do we get them back? So for many organizations, these would be the questions to really focus on, especially if you're, for example, in work at the gym, work in a travel organization. The focus should be on preserving relationships with clients or customers that might not be able to buy right now, but will be able to buy and use your services in the near future. And then depending on those customer lifetime value based segments, what can you do? So what can you continue doing with customers that have high CLV, medium CLV, and low CLV? We look at customer lifetime value as an amazing mechanism for audience building and for targeting. And time over time, we see that segments that are done based on CLV data tend to outperform segments that are done based on other data points. And lastly, it really comes down to focus on the customer. And I love this quote by Yang Shim from Ernst & Young Americas. The performance gap is huge between the companies that take a more comprehensive and customer-centric approach to digital enterprise transformation than those that solely focus on cost reduction. And hopefully we are giving you a lot of ideas on how you can cut costs while still maintain customer-centric approach. Last a couple of things to mention. Obviously, we are on this together, yet to see an industry that has not been impacted by coronavirus and by what's taking place in the marketplace. So have an open line of dialogue with your partners. I'm on calls with many of our partners and clients on a weekly basis, trying to determine what can be done right now, what can be put on hold. Work internally with your legal and procurement team to expedite the process of onboarding a new vendor or doing a pilot. I can't stress this enough. An organization reached out to us wanting to do a migration project because it could save them almost $100,000 a year, and they could see part of the value right now. And then when we started to have conversation with procurement, they pleasantly surprised us that it will take us 4 months to finish the procurement process, right? 4 months is just a very bad time frame, right, to get started. You have to find a way to work with new partners, new technology vendors right now, so your business can benefit from that impact. If you have to wait for 4 months for procurement to okay this, you are going to lose an opportunity. So work internally to expedite these things. Better a lot of times does not have to mean more expensive. Better can often mean more efficient, more automated. And lastly, investment in your team always produces the highest ROI. So as far as next steps, a couple of items to share. One is to the question that was asked, what else is available? We published this report that lists even more ideas and goes into a lot more details about how you can do more with less. And when we share the recording, we'll provide the link to the report that you can download, and will help you find opportunities for money-saving enhancements, right? So again, you can do more with less. Additionally, we are putting together a budget audit that we do with a number of our partners, and something that you can benefit from. And the budget audit allows us to take a comprehensive look at where the organization is spending right now and how money can be repurposed. Right? So we look at the platforms that are available. We look at a platform audit. Again, to determine, do we need all of these platforms? So do we spend more, or what can be done with less tools but better integrated tools? Can we migrate to one platform versus using a number of point solutions? The second one is looking at media allocation and audience review. Are we going after the right audiences? What are the things that we can do right now in terms of fixing technical debt? Almost every organization that we talk with often says, well, our campaign tracking is not done the right way, or our app tracking can be improved, right? So we have a lot of technical debt. Now might be a good time to at least outline everything that's not working or can be improved, and determine if things are a little bit slower at our organization, is this a good time for us to fix and address technical debt? And lastly, we look at how can we reprioritize projects with the highest payoff, and what projects can be put on hold, at least for the time being. And lastly, we also published a resource hub that lists a lot of different white papers, has a lot of articles, blog posts, and also has 2 open office hours, which are free calls that you can dial in and ask questions. One on April 24th is about retail analytics, and it will focus on attribution, media mix modeling, and cost data import. So if your questions are around how do you optimize my media because we continue to spend on marketing, this would be a great office hour to attend. And again, this is done very much as a working session, so for you to come in, ask questions, and our colleagues are going to reply. And the second one is around audience strategy and customer segmentation, another topic that we touched on today. So when we share the recording and we send out the summary, you will have a link to this resource hub page that has a way to sign up for office hours as well as download other resources. And that's all that we had planned to present today. Lori, anything to add from your side?
I don't think so. I think you definitely did that presentation justice, Michael. So yeah, nothing additional to add. I will continue to promote internally for Googlers on the call any additional webinars, resources, thought leadership, the resources hub. Additionally, I love the page on companies that are hiring. I'll push that out. So if you all know clients that are laying off, you can connect them. So all these resources are great, Michael. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lori. And we'll be here. So if you have any immediate questions, please ask. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me. There's my email address, and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
The recording will be shared, and we'll also send out resources that we presented today.